Hello everyone and welcome to today's Stocks and Crypto YouTube Charts video. I am No FOMO Charts. Today is Sunday, April 6, 2025, just after 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Welcome everyone. This is a swing trading and investing charts YouTube channel. Let's start off with stock earnings releases upcoming this week. The biggest companies: Delta Airlines, CarMax, JP Morgan Chase, Morgan Stanley, and Wells Fargo, just to name a few. Economic data releases for this week: FOMC meeting minutes, CPI, core CPI inflation data, unemployment claims, PPI, core PPI inflation data, consumer sentiment, and inflation expectations as well. Current events and news: stock market earnings season starting officially. The biggest news: President Trump announced reciprocal tariffs on 180 countries last week. These reciprocal tariffs are set to start on April 9th. China then responded with plus 34% tariffs on USA goods to match the USA tariff of plus 34% on China. Canada and 50 other countries are trying to negotiate tariff deals right now. And stock market then capitulated and crashed for several days. JP Morgan increased their odds for a USA and global recession to 60%. Trump's economic team brushed off recession fears, but also acknowledged prices could increase and go higher. Elon Musk is reportedly set to leave the Doge special government employee position in May. He also hopes that the USA and Europe will move to a zero tariff trade zone. And lastly, some global products and company IPO listings were delayed to assess the impact of tariffs. Very volatile. S&P 500. We went straight down for 3 days, and a lot of investors feeling pain. So what were the warning signs that we're going to crash? It was already a downtrend, a very weak bounce attempt under the 200-day moving average. This is still a downtrend because we did not go up. We're not going sideways. So then what's the remaining direction we're most likely to go in? Down. Off of news. So the stock market is not all about charts. Charts are only, I would say, 25 to 30% of the equation. We still have to factor in the government, corporations, news, and earnings, in addition to the charts. So we lost the 300 EMA, we lost the 300-day EMA and the 400-day EMA, and we did not quite hit the 2000 EMA. Why do I have that? Because if we rewind to the pandemic, we hit the 2000-day EMA and we crashed back in 2020, negative 36%. In 2022, we crashed negative 27%. That was a slower downtrend. Right now, we only crashed negative 18%. That's why I have an additional target down here of 459 and 396. If we continue to capitulate and crash down. Yes, somewhere here, just somewhere down here, we might get a bounce if the news changes and reverses. So in a bullish scenario, we would need tariffs to be canceled or very, very significantly reduced on both sides of the equation. So USA and China, for example. Or if it's a zero trade agreement for tariffs, that's even better. Or it's possible that earnings could help a little bit, but tariffs are worse because the market is forward thinking. If tariffs are going to make prices increase and sales decrease, then companies might start to see that happening, the negative effects on sales. I'm not talking about building factories, in 3 months. I'm talking about what's going to cause demand and supply to move, buyers and sellers. So for S&P 500, the support levels before we move on. Open pivot points, very simple. Next pivot point down, 485, 456, 426, and 400. We already hit my downside targets. So let's leave these targets for next time. And it's significant in the crash. We lost the Bollinger Band in the white. We lost the 100-day linear regression. So this is capitulation crash. Now, until I see something extremely bullish, I'm probably not going to go all in on my long. I need to see something like what happened in 2023, bottoming out and going sideways. Remember what I said last week about never try to catch a falling knife? This is one of those examples. If somebody's buying right now, they're probably thinking on like a 5 or 10 year horizon of investing. For me, when I look at this weekly chart, the RSI has only gotten under 30 in the pandemic and slightly in 2022. So it might not be the absolute bottom, but it could keep going down. If we rewind all the way back to 07 and 08, the market went down something like negative 50%. So we could have a serious crash over the next 1 or 2 years. Just understand that there's a lot of open space down here. Now, what are my options for me? This is not financial advice. I can buy lower price stocks right now. I can short stocks. I can pass and basically wait. So what did I do this last week? I actually shorted because this is a huge crash. So I ended up having a profitable week. But in terms of investing, if someone's just trying to hodl through this, it's going to be very, very, very painful in the short term. Okay, QQQ. Nasdaq. Same problem. We were in a downtrend, attempted bounce, rejection down to the downside, well below the Bollinger Band and linear regression. Pivot points were standing right below it. 422, next level down, 392 and 358. Another easy way to do it is take a Fibonacci retracement tool, bottom of October 2022 to the top of February 2025, understanding that we're not anywhere near the 618 or the 50% retrace in these two X's. We could continue to crash down to 400 or 350. Then maybe some real deep technical buyers, even down to 317, might start to really want to buy that. Remember, one candle body is not really enough to save the entire stock market. We need to see significant price consolidation to the sideways to even get a chance at an uptrend reversal right now. Okay, let's look at Dow Jones. They're all very similar. I'm on a weekly chart. I'll go faster now. So this double top M on Dow Jones actually became true, 8% target to the downside. Next target down is 360. We lost that pivot point, see the weekly. Once we reject down below that, then it's pretty much game over. In the short term, 333 and 363 are my targets to the downside for Dow Jones. I need to see multiple green candles or price consolidation before going green myself. And the Russell 2000 on the weekly chart, that small potential upside down head and shoulders did not, actually the double bottom did not come true. It's death crossed. Dow Jones, not quite death crossed yet on EMAs, but the key here, the early warning sign was Russell 2000 was death crossed, just like crypto. VIX, usually I don't show the VIX, but this is significant. VIX bounced off its 200 EMA and just went parabolic on the volatility, basically up 50%. Now, let's take a quick look at some of the Magnificent Seven and we'll move on. I'll just talk about price. Let's turn off these indicators. So Apple down in the price from all-time highs, 27%. Easy to just put up a Fibonacci, not from the April 24 low. Let's go back to 23 at least. Turn everything off. 23 up to 25. Close to the 50%. 618 is down at 172. Nvidia. We can see it has been in a downtrend. It's not going up. We had a bounce attempt. Earnings not good enough. So put up this Fibonacci retracement. Low to high. And the 50% retrace, $82 and $61 for 618. I don't see any triple candle pattern or anything yet. Microsoft with the death cross. Nvidia, Apple, not death crossed yet. but Microsoft had that death cross and it's been in a clean downtrend. It's almost outside of the linear regression, however, so that's kind of interesting heading into earnings. So it's possible that it could crash, have actually good earnings, and then we might get a little bounce, but remains to be seen. Google with a death cross on the EMA, downtrend, a lot of drawings. Sometimes it's worth it to just turn off all the EMA's indicators and just get basic support and resistance. Even if I take a Fibonacci from 2020, low to high, it's only the 382 retrace, although it's important support level area. So 128 or 106 resistances, I'm not really calling them out right now, but it's very easy to see 169 or 160 as well. Amazon not quite death crossed yet in the white line here, but outside that linear regression, similar is we might get a V-shaped recovery at some point. And this is assuming that the news actually stops. If we keep having bad tariff news week after week after week, and the earnings are bad, most likely it's going to continue to go down if we have that scenario. The news has to be overwhelmingly bullish for the market for people to get confident and come back. Retail buyers are already buying right now. But for me, I'm being a little bit more conservative with my investments. I'm being aggressive with my trading though. Tesla in this downtrend, rejection, still holding above the 225 area, turning into a kind of symmetrical triangle now. So we'll see what that move is. Could be plus or minus 25% over time, going straight into earnings. Resistance 282, support 225. Fortunately, oil, it's hard to see, but had a capitulation dump crash. I almost did put options on oil, but I did it on something else. But this would have been a nice put option. But the capitulation crash on oil, that's why sometimes got to have a stop loss, or trailing stop loss, or just be able to change direction when things go really bad. But there was a warning sign, lower low. This could have been a weekly lower high. And now we're having a lower low. I do like this hammer candle though, at least a little sign of life down there. Natural gas, like I said, bearish because of this head and shoulders, even though it's golden crossed, but the tariff news, a little bit of volatility. It's not extreme though on natural gas. So support level 1868, resistance 21. Unfortunately, the metals took a hit. Gold even down 3% from its highs. This might not be the end of gold. It could just be a dip opportunity on gold. But the weekly is starting to show some bearish divergence, bearish momentum on the oscillator. It's just a matter of time. Silver, however, unfortunate crash. And there was a slight warning sign, slanted double top. And that's just capitulation right there, bouncing off of S3 up to S2 pivot point. So S2 resistance 27, S3 26.51. Copper crashed all the way down to 200 EMA, right? 27.64. This was a nice short or put option. Remember what I said? This is a quick lesson that whenever price, I just noticed, whenever price gets out of this, not every time, but when it comes out of the linear regression and pokes out above the Bollinger Band or Keltner channel, sometimes that's a spot of a relative high, sometimes. And in this case, that was a massive short put option potential. That's probably 150% at least from top to bottom on options. But it went to 200% here. It went to 200 EMA and the support level 27, 23, and $26. All right, let's move to crypto. Thank everyone for watching this video. Yes, the market is very, very volatile and stressful. However, if you've lived through crypto, and we know that crypto is sensitive, it was holding up. Total crypto market cap was holding up until now. So I think people were trying to maybe separate crypto versus stocks, thinking that crypto is going to be a hedge. I started seeing news articles about that, meaning that if stocks are down, crypto could go up. But that's not really the case, in my opinion, because we have a death cross. And if this candle was extremely bullish green today on Sunday for me, then I would have changed my tune, because that could have been upside down, head and shoulders. But it's rejecting down. So that pattern for me is canceled. Put up a trend line on the top here, understanding that we could dump all the way down to this zone, 2.1 trillion. That's a pivot point as well. Watch out for the death cross, everybody. Crypto usually reacts a little bit late. Death cross on total 2, death cross on total 3, with open space down here. So in my opinion, if the China tariffs, especially Asia tariffs, America and European tariffs, for instance, get worse, probably we're going to get capitulation in crypto at some point. Watch out for that. Bitcoin dominance increasing. Melania coin, Trump coin, all altcoins, Doge coin, SHIB, Solana, it's all down right now on Sunday because tariffs, the trade war possibly beginning. Bitcoin, US dollar, the weekly chart. Remember, I was talking all the way back here. Why did I exit crypto in December? There's a double top with bearish momentum. I'm usually 3 months or 6 months way earlier than people. And then everyone thinks I'm crazy all the time. Not all the time, but you know, they wonder why is this guy selling when we're so green? Is because that's the time to exit. Not when it's red, because the price went down a lot. So let's put up a Fibonacci retracement. And we can see we're right above the weekly 50 EMA. Daily chart, it's not quite death crossed yet, but very close. Open up Bollinger Band linear regression. Next target, 70,000 Bitcoin if it continues to crash. Watch out for that. Resistance, we have to break above 85,000. Ethereum was a lot easier to understand. There were chances to try to get saved in Ethereum, but I shorted Bitcoin in Ethereum. Ethereum's down now 60%. This death cross was definitely real. Now, how did I know to short? Because I was trying to tell people, if we do not go sideways and we do not go up, there's only one direction left to go, and it's down. So I'm going to get bullish on crypto only in one scenario. We have to go sideways in the price. The price needs to stop dropping and needs to go sideways. And then I could buy a support level, or I could buy the breakout. I have 2 chances to try to get in there. So for now, understanding that from the 22 low, 2022 to 25 high, we lost the 618. That's bad. We're above 1,500. Next level down, 1,200 or $900, $1,000 Ethereum. That's probably going to be where I enter, somewhere around here. This bargain, that's a deal. Remember, the best time to buy crypto is when they're 80, 90, 95% discounted from their all-time highs. That's when nobody wants it. And then there's the highest chance of going up again if the laws are good. So we have to, this is where the emotional resilience and discipline comes in. I have to make decisions. The market moves. XRP, 200 EMA support. We're still in this longer term downtrend. Are we oversold yet? Not yet. So that's why we can continue to keep going down. $1.88, $1.53. Support levels. Solana, death cross. Remember that March death cross, not good. There's one bounce trade attempt, rejection down. Lower lows, lower highs. The 618 is $100 Solana, and it could even keep going lower than that. Remember, crypto is not safe. Even stocks are not safe when the price is too high. So best time to buy Solana would probably be even as low as possible, 65, 43, 30. And that's saying if we have a reversal, it could take years if this is the real crash. So just understand, sometimes got to be patient. There's no rule that I have to trade 50 times a quarter. I don't have to trade every day. Sometimes I just have to trade once per month. Sometimes it's once per year, just waiting for the big one. And then this is the big trade. I just caught one this week. Okay, Binance Coin. Binance Coin in the death cross, and we could see there's significant support levels above 500. So that's just where I'm going to mark. Sometimes it likes to really get oversold here in the Bollinger Band and just go as deep as possible. So maybe 440 could be the downside target to 529. Cardano, unfortunately, rejected down. And I'm going to wrap up the video soon. But I think it's important to, it looks like I have a lot of indicators, but the real way I do analysis is something more like this. First off, start on a daily chart. Get at least 1 or 2 years. For crypto, it's sometimes I do 5 years and just look at it. Sometimes with logarithmic chart, if I can't see the prices, turn the logarithmic chart on. It's easier to see. And then what do I do? Actually, I draw trend lines. Resistance, trend line, support trend line, another support trend line. You only really need like 2. But sometimes I like to draw horizontal resistance and support just so I see it visually. And then if I really don't have time, I'll Fibonacci from the lowest point to the highest point. And those, it's clear to see the horizontal left to right support levels in the Fibonacci. And this is probably, how we're playing Cardano right now. Back inside of this channel, it's about the halfway point. Someone could relative Fibonacci here. We lost that 618. So I'm deferring to the larger 618. Pivot points on a daily next level down is 47 cents. If we get back down to 25 cent Cardano, I might be interested in that. That's the spot that's been working for me. And then to check the linear regression, for example, this is starting to get really advanced now, or more intermediate. Right, but even before turning on those indicators, I should say it's important to understand and identify the trend. So, last thing I'm going to say for Cardano is, what's the trend of the price? Is it going down? Trend. Is it going uptrend? Or is it going sideways? Consolidation. There's only 3 options, 3 choices. The correct answer was, right now, we are downtrending. Downtrending. So like I said, if I'm a conservative investor, if we are downtrending, I am not buying a lot until we bottom out. I need to see the price go sideways for a chance at uptrend reversal. It's one of the biggest lessons any technical trader can learn, is to not fight the trend and not dollar cost average, especially like penny coins or cryptos from the top all the way to bottom. You're just a trader, not you, but a trader will just average to the middle then. I don't do that. My style is I just wait. Sometimes you just do nothing for 2 years in crypto and then you get a massive win 2 years later, right? So that's why I'm not really telling everyone to buy anything, because I'm a longer term trader. That's the educational part. Let's finish up some of these and then we'll log off for today. Dogecoin. Remember, we had this death cross. We're in a downtrend. Remember we just talked about? We're in the downtrend. So if I have a Fibonacci just to put up easy support and resistance, this turned to a head and shoulders. Still in the downtrend, next level down, probably 12 cents or 9 cents, like I was saying last time. I want to buy in those areas because once Doge, it's only 67% off. You could drop down another 30% or 25%, and then maybe we'll bottom out in Doge in like the 5 cent zone. So just being very patient. Also, I could draw a trend line on the top here. Probably the correct one would be more something like this. The most touch points possible. If somebody's bullish, I don't really want to draw it like that. I want to enclose it. It needs to break out and reverse out of here. If not, we're going to crash. So just understand, we just got to understand. If there's no significant price support, why am I buying as an investor? If it's going in an uptrend, that's where I want to buy. Patience is the key. And position sizing, risk reward, those are key as well. That's the other half of the equation. The chart setup, and then position sizing and risk management, meaning what's my entry, what's my stop loss defined in dollars, and the price of dollar and the price, what's my profit target, am I having a trailing stop loss, how am I going to manage the trade, what happens if the price goes down. Being a little bit more logical than feeling based. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video or you learned something, go ahead and click subscribe, hit the like button, leave a nice comment or request. And remember, patience, emotional strength, resilience, and running our strategies that actually work. See you next time.